you think a Tesla stock buyback will help the company's stock to soar from its current valuation? The leading EV company's stock has been following a downward trend since it released what many perceive as disappointing Q3 results. That said, a stock buyback at this time may prove to be extremely beneficial for the company. You definitely would not want to miss this info. Many experts, along with a chorus of Tesla investors, have been expressing their thoughts about how a Tesla stock buyback will significantly help the company at this point, especially since Tesla stock has been hitting an all-time low lately. A stock buyback program for Tesla has been increasingly talked about among investors in recent months after Musk teased the idea of a stock buyback on Tesla's third-quarter earnings call. In the said earnings call, Tesla executives and CEO Elon Musk himself addressed several issues, including Tesla's stock buyback. Musk explained that even in the downside scenario next year, although 2023 may prove to be a difficult year, Tesla still has the ability to do a $5 to $10 billion buyback. We've debated the buyback idea extensively at the board level. The board generally thinks that it does make sense to do a buyback, but we want to work through the right process to do a buyback. But it's certainly possible for us to do a buyback on the order of $5 to $10 billion, Tesla CEO Elon Musk said. However, note that this is still pending board review and approval. It's likely that we'll do some meaningful buyback, Musk said. He added that while the market teams revolve around the short term, it's very important to focus on the long term. Over the recent months, numerous experts and Tesla bulls have been speaking about the possible benefits of a stock buyback for the company. Even Tesla's third-largest investor, Leo Kogowan, has been calling for a stock buyback for several months now. More than that, a Change.org petition was created to urge Tesla for a share buyback. The said petition is doing well, with about 5,300 signatures by late November. The petition is seeking a buyback by the end of the year. This came after Tesla experienced what could be the worst year in the history of the company. That includes shares falling with Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter, as well as the EV company dealing with 19 recalls this year. Elon Musk has previously suggested that a Tesla stock buyback could be on the way to boost investor confidence in the EV company. However, if that indeed happens, investors won't likely see it until sometime next year. Still, there are several reasons why many push for a stock buyback before next year. One of the arguing points in the aforementioned petition is that the company will benefit from a currently very undervalued stock price. A stock buyback will also, quite possibly, show confidence in Tesla's future results. Furthermore, people believe that Tesla should act before the 1% tax on share buybacks becomes applicable on January 1, 2023. Finally, Tesla should operate the buyback under current SEC rules, which will change reporting standards in the foreseeable future. The company would be wise to start buyback now. Singapore billionaire Leo Kogowan tweeted in mid-November, saying it was both the best timing and the right thing to do. Simply put, Tesla investors are begging CEO Elon Musk and the board of Tesla to consider buying back shares as the company's stock price slumps to a 2-year low. Buying back shares from the marketplace would reduce the number of outstanding shares available, which increases the ownership stake of current shareholders. That's because a reduced supply of shares often causes a price increase. Tesla bull and influencer Alexandra Merz, who recently put up a petition on Change.org to advocate for a swift buyback before the end of the year, is among numerous investors who argue that a stock buyback would be a show of confidence in Tesla's future results and would return wealth to shareholders. I'm a huge Tesla fan and past stockholder, but in order to preserve my capital, I've been forced to go to the dark side, commented one petitioner, of which there are currently 5,807. I've recently begun to short the stock and have earned back roughly half my losses. I believe in Tesla's long-term growth, but I need to see some action from the board before going long again. A nice buyback would show confidence from the board that Tesla is still a good investment. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives believes that Tesla will face stock buyback pressure from activist investors next year after shares get cut in half this year. The pressure, of course, will be largely put on Tesla CEO Elon Musk's shoulders. According to Ives, activist investors could pressure Tesla to launch a stock buyback program, improve profit margins, or make strategic moves. We also believe activism will start to increase across the broader tech sector, as names such as Salesforce and Tesla, being two examples, will face growing pressure around margins, buyback, and strategic moves, Ives said. Tesla bull Dave Lee said a Tesla stock buyback is not entirely impossible, as others are led to believe. Lee explained that if Tesla could make 10 million vehicles per year and have an operating profit of $15,000 per vehicle, there would be $150 billion of operating profit per year. And if investors gave a 30 multiple off of that, that would be $4.5 trillion. With the hypothetical $150 billion in operating profit, Tesla could probably use most of that money to do stock buybacks, says Lee. Leo Kogowan, the third largest individual shareholder of Tesla stock, has been calling on the EV maker to announce a stock buyback since May, as the company's share price continues to fall. In a tweet to Martin Vicha, head of investor relations at Tesla, Kogowan said the company should immediately announce its plans to buy back $5 billion of Tesla shares this year and $10 billion next year. He added that Tesla should use its free cash flow to fund the buyback and that it shouldn't affect its existing $18 billion cash reserves. In another tweet, Kogowan said Tesla's free cash flow amounted to $2.2 billion in the first quarter of the year. He added that he expects it to climb to $8 billion this year and $17 billion next year after capital expenditures have been factored in. He also said the Tesla can invest in full self-driving, its Optimus bot and new factories while also buying back its undervalued stocks. Leo Kogowan has quietly amassed one of the single biggest stakes in Elon Musk's company in 2021. Although Kogowan is a billionaire in his own right, he shared through a tweet in September 2021 that the value of his supposed holdings soared to $4 billion, $5 billion, and finally more than $7 billion in the said year. "I believe in Elon's great mission," Kogowan said in a tweet. Kogowan believes that Tesla will have a huge market cap by 2030 if it can do a $1 trillion buyback between 2023 and 2026. Through a tweet, Kogowan requested that Tesla does a $100 billion share buyback from 2022 to 2026, and then another $1 trillion buyback from 2026 to 2030. The billionaire investor shared that if Tesla buys back its shares at $1,000 per share between 2026 and 2030, it will remove $1 billion out of the 3.14 billion shares available today, reducing the number of outstanding shares to around 2.14 billion. Since there will be fewer shares available for investors, the stock price can potentially soar to $5,000 from $3,000 per share. As Tesla CEO Elon Musk sold more Tesla shares in recent days, Kogowan said in a tweet, to reverse Elon's selling of over $35.7 billion in Tesla stock, Tesla or Elon or both do buybacks $35.7 billion. So it's a huge amount. I only propose $5 to $10 billion buybacks this year due to Tesla's cash availability to allow healthy reserves for emergency without borrowing money or issuing bonds. Experts believe that Tesla can certainly afford a buyback as it held $21 billion in cash and short-term marketable securities as of September. Whether now is a good time for Tesla to buy back its own stock as competition in the EV sector heats up remains to be seen, as some would argue Tesla is still in growth mode and should reinvest its profits to cement its lead in the sector rather than repurchase shares. That's why an activist pressure on Tesla in 2023 is likely to first focus on low-hanging fruit, like refocusing Musk on his Tesla responsibilities and launching initiatives that would help improve profit margins. Overall, pressure for a stock buyback for this year, or at the very least early next year, is significantly mounting. Hopefully, the Tesla board will make a decision about this soon. Subscribe to this channel for more Tesla stock content.